Wouldn't it be cool to post less content and still see massive results? Is that even possible? Well, today we are going to find out. We're actually joined by a fellow content creator who, over the past year, has been able to post less and actually double his channel size by over 10,000 subscribers. He's got a ton of value to bring to the table today. So lean in as we welcome Zach Sopak to the stream. What's up, Zach?
Ben?
Hey,
Hey,
good to
man.
see you. Good to see you. I'm excited to have you on the stream today. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to talk about some cool content strategies and topics for all the people watching today. So let's go ahead, and I'd love to kind of introduce who you are to the audience today. We are doing this stream today. It's awesome to see that, you're doing YouTube. Your channel has grown significantly this year. And we've actually known each other for a long time. For those who are unfamiliar with Zach, he's a longtime friend and an awesome YouTuber slash content creator. We went to church together way back in the day. We played on the worship team together, which is super fun.
Nice facial hair too.
Yeah, Zach, I think your mic is acting up all of a sudden, unfortunately. I know we had addressed that in the beginning. But yeah, so yeah, lack of the facial hair in this picture, fun times. We created a ton of content together throughout the years, doing different church videos and fun stuff like that. And we also just recently hung out in California, which was super fun. So Zach is awesome. You guys definitely need to go check out his channel and his content because he's got a lot of really cool stuff going on. But Zach, go ahead and why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself as well?
Cool. Is my mic sounding good now? Is
Yeah,
this
it
working?
is. Yeah, let me turn your volume down just a smidge, but yes.
Okay. All right. Well, while he does that, so like Ben said, my name's Zach, and I make content on YouTube. A lot of stuff towards the photography realm of things. Photo, video is kind of my thing, and I really love photo editing as well. And so if you go to my channel, you'll see a giant playlist for Lightroom, which is a fun editing app for all your photo needs. So if you're interested in any of that kind of stuff, you can certainly check it out on my channel.
Awesome. Yeah, Zach does a ton of great stuff. And today we're actually talking about a really cool thing that has happened over his channel this year, which is, he's actually posted less and grown in size. So Zach, could you talk to that, topic a little bit? What's the situation there? Why have you been posting less? How did all that work out?
Yeah, honestly, the reason why all of it happened that way for me, it wasn't really my plan. I went into this year thinking that I was going to do the exact opposite. I was going to post more. I was going to grow even greater. And life just kind of happened, as it does sometimes. I was just recently a father for the first time. So we got...
Congrats.
Now, thank you very much. We have a little girl at home. And so it was like, along with that, along with my normal 9-to-5 job, other content creators who are just trying to get started and grow will understand that sometimes work needs to take priority, so that way you can fund your side project and your passion projects like YouTube. And I also had some other side work that just really took up a lot of my time, and so I unfortunately was not able to devote as much time to my YouTube channel. However, because I did some things really the right way early on when I posted videos on YouTube, it actually enabled my channel to grow and double in size in this year, even though I posted significantly less.
Yeah, and that's really cool. And so this is going to be a topic today where we're going to be talking a little bit about how that works. I think that's a common scenario that a lot of you guys out there may be experiencing, where you're just busy. Life is there. Life is happening, and you don't always have time, the time that you want to commit to the channel. That's just the way things are sometimes. But what we want to do is to talk through some strategies so that the videos that you do make are the most effective they can be, and that you will see the most growth and results out of them. So hopping into some of this stuff today, We are talking about evergreen content. All right. We want to set everything up with your content so that it is evergreen, which is going to be really the goal here. So, what is evergreen content? Let's define it for a second. Evergreen content is timeless, it is discoverable, it's focused, it's value adding. All right. So, this is not going to be your typical like this is a life update video, or this is just something I'm you know entertaining with in the moment. These are going to typically be tutorial based videos. They're typically going to be very value adding and answering specific questions. So, and they're going to be relevant for a long haul, for the long haul, for a long period of time, right? So, Zach, go ahead and tell us a little bit about your take on evergreen content and why it has been working for you this year.
Yeah, I think just evergreen content in general it's not like the only way to make videos, but it's definitely a surefire way to allow your videos to have the most shelf life and the longest amount of time for it to reach people. And so when I'm thinking evergreen, I'm thinking of something like what Bennett already said, that it's timeless, something that is not date specific, or it's not item specific necessarily. It's something that really can live beyond like the life of just one certain little thing that you might feature in a video.
Yeah, for sure. I think that it is, all of that is super good. I agree with that, and I think it all comes down to the topics. I think it all comes down to what it is that you're deciding to talk on. And hey, Zach, just while I know we're live, but I want to see if you switch back to your other mic, if that's gonna be working again yet. Guys, I'm super appreciative of you all hanging out at the stream today. I see Alicio is here in the chat. Super cool. And if any of you guys are here in the chat today, what I would like you to do, if you've got questions throughout the stream, just go ahead and put a little Q at the beginning of it so that we can search it up at the end of the stream. Just as you think of questions, you can go ahead and type them out throughout the stream today. We will do Q&A at the end of it, and really, dive into some details. But for now, let's keep talking through this evergreen stuff. We've kind of defined it a little bit, but what I would like to do now is just kind of talk about our story a little bit. And I know, Zach, you've already mentioned some of this stuff, but I've actually got some screenshots here of your channel. You're sitting now at 20,000 subscribers, which is absolutely awesome. Super, super cool. And congratulations on that. And I want to just dive into your top performing videos and figure out why they work as evergreen content. What is it about them that made them succeed? And just kind of share some of these tips, because ultimately our goal today is to help you guys, you aspiring content creators. And if you are here in the stream today, I just want to say, congrats. Like, I can tell you are somebody who is driven. You're somebody who is looking to learn and to develop themselves and to grow and to get insider techniques. So you're already a step ahead of the competition just by being a learner, being somebody that is wanting to, better themselves with knowledge. So today we are going to share some of the best things that we've learned about this technique, because it really is a powerful way to grow a sustainable channel. So Zach, talk to us about some of your top guys here.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'll say this too. Like, when I posted these videos initially, I wasn't sure what to expect, because they actually did not perform very well initially. I think my top performing video is my 35-minute walkthrough of how to use the Lightroom mobile editing app. And when we're thinking evergreen content, like, there's a little bit of an element to where this is a little dated because the app updates over time. However, for 2 years, this video has been my highest performer, and it's gotten my most subscribers to my channel. And but the funny thing is, within the first 6 months, it got maybe 120 views, like, total. And then all of a sudden, wow, right at the turn of the year, it just started getting discovered more and more and more. So thankfully I was doing proper practices and my SEO and like really the content of the video is more so timeless and talking about all the tools, and it's performed really well. And then likewise too, you kind of see where the reach is for certain videos and what people are really grabbing onto, and so you want to go forward and you want to try to find more topics like that can be really beneficial to people who are searching it. So that was the same thing for my second highest one right now, which is how to install presets onto your phone, because it's actually kind of a process instead of like using it doesn't just download like it would on your computer. So that was another need that I saw, and so since I already have people finding my videos to help know the app in general, I wanted to provide something a little bit more that could still be like a parent or like a sister video to that. And then, if they're watching this video, which is my highest performer, odds are they'll probably watch my next video as well.
Amazing. Yeah, I totally agree with you there. I think that there's a saying that I hear from Think Media a lot of times, which is success leaves clues, make part twos. And I think that is exactly what you have done here. You looked at the analytics, you looked at what was working for you, and you decided to double down and make another one. And again, you saw the results go up because there was a heavy interest in that topic. And the cool thing is, as you start to do this, not just you, but anybody watching, if you notice that, whatever your most popular video is, like, try to double down on it, make a part two, make it a second version, because as you do that over time, more and more, you can find yourself starting to become the authority in that topic, because you start to end up ranking, you start to end up trending in those categories, and a lot of your content is about that, and people start to know you for it. And that's a really good thing, because then you can start to, come to people's mind when they think about those topics and video ideas, which is really cool. So great strategy from you there. I think I have a few other videos for you here as well. So these were some other ones. And again, I see another one of your top performers is another Lightroom Mobile, which, again, it seems like it's very much, when you're searching Lightroom Mobile, Zach Sopak is showing up. And you also had a very popular webcam video as well, which it is clear to see because your webcam quality is awesome. So if you guys want to be able to get some awesome webcam tips, go check out that video. But talk to me a little bit about the webcam video and how that all, how did it go? How did it get to where it's at? How did it get so many views, and how is it evergreen?
Sure. Yeah, so the really cool thing about that video is that was a little earlier on when I started doing YouTube, but I made it in 2020, where everybody was all of a sudden doing Zoom meetings and having to do virtual meetings and calls of different kinds. And I just wanted to find a way to make a really nice professional, like kind of cinematic quality. I had these nice cameras, so tried to figure out a way to make that happen. On top of that, it was like kind of knowing the times of, there was a lack of knowledge on this subject. There was a lack of equipment for a lot of people. You couldn't get capture cards unless you wanted to pay a ton of money for them. And so I basically found a workaround in order to make it work. And again, like, I just did it in such a way to where the technique works, and then you could apply it to your own Sony camera. And through that, I think that my video has, that one there has the most comments out of any other video that I had, because people had a ton of questions as well. So I was able to really do a lot of help and then do a part two on that once like Sony finally got up to date on what they were doing. But this one is still, very largely successful because of just the times and where we were. And yeah. So it was
very cool.
Pretty weird, but it happened in a really organic way.
Right. Yeah, for sure. And I think it's really cool how sometimes it's just about the timing. Sometimes it is about the positioning, right? So it's like, I think what happened was, like, you were aware of the times, you were aware of the needs people were having to an extent, and you just made a video solving those issues, and people ended up finding it and liking it a lot. And I think that's really cool. And I want to tell you guys a little bit about my experience and my story with this. Zach, I think your mic was messing up again, so we may switch back, unfortunately. I see some comments in there. It sounds really good when it's working, but So I want to tell you guys a little bit about my story with this. You know, if you're here on the channel, if you're a subscriber on the channel, chances are you've probably seen this video, which is my most popular one, lighting for YouTube videos, and it was a very similar state in the world when I decided to do this. The funny thing about this video is, you know, I actually waited way too long to make it. I had the idea for it years before I made it, and I just was too scared. I didn't do it. But 2020 came, the world was on lockdown. I had zero excuses to not, so I decided to go for it. And really the point of this video, you know, is to help people with their lighting. And the cool thing is that really is a timeless topic. I think anytime there are new creators coming to the platform that are looking to do YouTube strong and do it well, you know, I think that the thing that one of the things they look into is lighting. And so this video really helps answer some of those concerns, some questions. And I did not gear this video to the experts. I did not gear this video to you know, even really the intermediate. It was very much geared towards beginners. And I think that's a really strong place to start when you're considering what type of evergreen content could you make within your niche. It's to ask yourself, like, what would a beginner want to know? How would a beginner want to learn? How did I want to learn when I was a beginner, when I was first starting, right? Like, that's kind of what I did. When I was first coming up in filmmaking and video, you know, there was not as many resources as there are today. And it was hard to find the answers of what I was looking for. And it was complicated, and a lot of people made it seem super scary and crazy and complex. And so I had to sift through all of that and make it a very easy to understand way for me as a beginner. And I wanted to then bring that knowledge to other people who may be in that position, who are like, I just want to understand this in a simple way. And I think if you can approach your tutorial-based evergreen content that way, you'll see good results. Like, it's not the time or place to try to show off. It's not the time or place to try to impress. It's just making it simple, make it understandable and easy, and people are going to find value out of that. I think that's going to be a really strong place. So yeah, again, that's a little bit of my thought process with this. We'll talk a little bit more about it later, but going beyond just that video, I've got some other ones as well. So these are some of the ones that are ranking in search for me, which is a big one. So when you search lighting for YouTube videos, I show up. When you want to learn how to make a YouTube intro, and this was my next logical thought. I made a lot of additional lighting videos. I think I have, a couple other ones here. So lots of lighting videos that started ranking and doing well. But this one over here is how to make a YouTube intro. So I asked myself, if someone's wanting to learn lighting for their YouTube channel, they're probably starting a YouTube channel. So what else would they want to know? Well, one of those things was probably to make an intro, right? So I made a video on that. So the point is, try to think about, where your viewers, your audience are at in their journey, and what questions are your most popular videos helping solve. And then what's the next logical step, or another logical step that they may be taking? You can make videos off that as well. All right, so let's go ahead and, again, that's more lighting videos there. But I do want to talk through some tips, really getting into the nitty gritty. We've shared some about our story. We've shared some about what Evergreen is. But now I really want to talk through some practical tips for this topic. And, there we go. The first one is to pick topic. So Zach, when it comes to picking a topic for evergreen content, what comes to mind? What are some tips to help the people out?
Yeah, I think, is this working? Check.
Yeah, a little quiet, but it's there. Yep.
Okay.
It sounds clean.
As long as I'm not sounding robotic.
Do you have any way to turn it up just a smidge?
Check. Is that better?
Yeah, that is better. Yeah.
Okay, this is the fun part about lives.
Yeah, it is. For sure.
Okay, so let's talk tips. I feel like the topic for your video, kind of like what we talked about, it's more so based on technique as opposed to something that is item specific. So I'll talk about Ben for an example. If he's doing a video about lighting, like a certain lighting technique and how to do that, that's not dependent on a product. It's not dependent on a certain type of light. It's not dependent on a certain brand of lighting. It's in that regard, it's timeless, and it doesn't really matter so much about the product. The product is irrelevant, but it's the technique and how you use it. And that's really the thing that adds a ton of value to people whenever you're really trying to like learn. If we're going from like this learning sort of a viewer and approach, and they're wanting to better themselves, is doing something where you can instill technique. It's kind of like, you can give a man a fish and he'll eat for a day, but if you teach a man to fish, he'll be able to eat for his entire life. So it's like having a way to find a topic that still fits in your niche, but you can make it so that it's not just date specific or it's item specific. It casts more of a wider net than that for your audience to be able to absorb it and then apply it to whatever it is that they have in their hands, because they may not have the same kind of setup that you have, or the same camera or the same lights, but they do have something, and they can use the technique in your video and apply it to what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I think that's a really good way to think about it. I love the teaching a man to fish example. I think that's a good way to think about it. Now, and that's not to say that certain products can't be somewhat evergreen as well. And I think it's all depending on, how much you want to consider is evergreen or isn't. But, I think sometimes like new products come out, and especially in the tech space, they're very quickly overshadowed. But sometimes, products come out and they are a reigning product for a long time. And if you can make a good review on it, you can kind of like leverage the popularity of that product and ride it out as long as you can, which I think is a strong strategy as well. But it will not be quite as everlasting as doing more of a technique tutorial that is going to last the test of time. So try both. I think one of the things that I think we'd like to make clear as well is like, we're not saying that you should post less or that you shouldn't, be consistent and do all that. We're just saying, like, in your content strategy, can you leverage these evergreen ideas and start to build up a content library where it will then be this super discoverable, always working for you type of video content, because those are going to be the most bang for buck. It's going to be the most out of your investment, and you can really start to treat these videos as if they are going out to work for you and bringing in results. So I think that's really a cool way to think about these types of videos. And another way, aside from just doing techniques, is also to think about what is new within your niche. Like what is something that has happened that is changing the game in your niche, that is a complete revolutionary thing that's happening in your industry or in whatever type of niche you are. Is it, if you're in the gaming industry, is there a brand new game thing that came out that, or a new game that came out or something like that? Like, get on those early if you can. Try to figure out those things, because if you can establish your presence early on, then you'll have a better chance at ranking over time. And the other thing I want to mention is that even if somebody has already made a video that is ranking, chances are if you search up the topic, there's going to be videos there, right? You don't have to worry or disqualify yourself saying, oh, somebody else has already done it. Instead, you can still make it. Like, we still need your perspective, your voice, your unique way of perceiving it and understanding it and looking at it, right? So don't be discouraged if someone else has already made the video. You making the video and bringing what you're going to bring to the table will already make it different and fresh and unique. Don't just copy people, but don't be afraid if somebody has already made the video. When I made the lighting video, there was already lighting videos out there. I just wanted to bring my perspective and my insight to it. And with Zach, I'm sure that there was also other Lightroom mobile tutorials, right? But we didn't have Zach's yet. We didn't have Zach's insights on it yet. And so, don't let the fact that there are already existing ones discourage you, but rather, take it as proof of concept. There is interest in that video. People are gravitating towards that video for some reason. So there is a proof of interest, which means that you can capitalize on that interest as well. So I think that's a cool way when you're considering topics. Do a little bit of market research. It's kind of what I call it, is like search the topics you're interested in making videos about and just see, like, are people even watching these? Is it even, is there interest in it? Sometimes it can be an untapped market. Other times it can be maybe people just aren't interested. And then if you are searching and there are trending videos, watch them and see where the gaps are. See how you would do it differently. See how you can help save time, make it shorter, make it better. All right, so that's kind of what I think when it comes to topics. Let us continue along with another tip, which is the title. All right, the title itself. This is a big part of the evergreen content strategy. And Zach, I'd love to hear your insights on titles when it comes to evergreen content. As far as how do we set it up in a way that will work well?
Okay. Dude, I'm having technical issues all day. I love it. All right, so
we're live, people. We're
about
live. There's
titles.
forgiveness.
All right, so titles are a lot of fun. I think too. I think I wrote this down in preparation for the live. I think just trying to avoid certain like dates in your title, or like it's really good to niche your title to make sure that it's specific enough to get your topic, but you don't want it to be so specific that it's like dated. Like there are certain times, like I've even got a couple of videos where it's like what's in my camera bag 2022, or what's something about this specific product 2022, or what. And I think whenever you date your topic or your title for your video, it's kind of like putting an expiration date on it, because it's only going to be relevant for the amount of time that you're really allowing for. And so just small things like that. And I just know that there's certain areas where you may feel compelled to do that, and kind of like what Ben was saying, like, it's not to say never do that. However, there are some times where you don't want to do it so that way your video can just have a longer lifespan. It's more like it's shelf stable and it can last a lifetime, as opposed to something that is just got that expiration date on it, because like it's like buying milk or something at the store. I always look for the one with like the last expiration date on it. Like, that's a little hack too. If you're a milk shopper, you go to like the far back and you get the one with like the latest date on it, because you want it to last the longest. That's kind of honestly how I view video titles sometimes, is like sometimes you can get really specific and it's necessary, but then you just don't get as much play from it.
Yeah, I love that example. I think that's really funny. And I would add to it with, making the title searchable and intriguing. For example, we took a look at my lighting video that did well, and it's called Lighting for YouTube Videos. Make your videos stand out. It's not just called Lighting for YouTube Videos. So it's searchable, Lighting for YouTube Videos. People are searching that up. But then it also has that level of intrigue, and really including the benefit of what the viewer potentially wants, which is to do all this learning about lighting and buying lights and all this stuff so that they can stand out. And so I think while you're trying to title your stuff, be thinking about not just what the video is about or the action that people are taking, but the benefit it is providing, and deliver that in the title, because ultimately people want the benefit. People want the transformation. People want the change. The work is a vehicle to get them there, but that's not the interesting thing. Nobody really wants to spend their time just like learning about lighting. People want to have good lighting so that they can have, really good results. People want to have good lighting so that they can have a good artistic product at the end of the day. And so I think that's one of the things that is super important to consider when you're titling your stuff, is like not just what is this video about, but what is it doing for the viewer? And can you include that in the title? I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying that it is something that's going to be, super easy to do. But I do think that it's something that if you work at it and work at it over time, you can get better at it and start to see better results. study the greats. Start searching the videos in your topic, see how people are titling it. What can you learn from that? How can you take that type of a structure and apply it to your perspective and technique, right? So I think those are certain ways that you can think about it. And speaking about lighting, you know, obviously that's something that is very prevalent on my channel. I do want to let you guys know about a really cool sale that I have going on my course right now. So I want to let you guys check out this video if you're interested to level up on your lighting. And then we'll get back into some practical tips about evergreen content. But check this out because we are running a sale right now for 50% off. And I think it could be beneficial for a lot of you content creators out there to help level up your content. Whether you are using an expensive camera setup or simply a smartphone, lighting can completely change the entire look of your video. Hi, my name is Ben Johnson, and I'm passionate about helping content creators crush it online. I've been running my creative business full-time since 2015. I've created content for clients generating millions of views, captured hundreds of live events with my award-winning team, and generated a community of over 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. The common thread throughout all of this was using lighting to create content that stands out. And now I've condensed years of experience into this course so that you can go further faster. In these modules, you will learn the fundamentals of lighting, multiple lighting styles and techniques, how to create flattering looks in challenging scenarios, how to achieve pro looks on a budget, and how to create standout content that gets results. Your digital presence has never been more important because business is happening online. It is where interviews are conducted, transactions take place, people are discovered, communities are built, and careers are made. Whether you are creating social media content, applying for your dream job, teaching courses, or filming for clients, this course will help you stand out and level up your content. All right, cool. That was just a little bit of a plug for the lighting course. You know, it's something that we put together this year. I think it can really help you guys. I also, fun fact, was playing that so that we could fix some little technical difficulties, which is always fun. But definitely check that out. We're running a sale right now. Code end of the year. I think it's end of year. Let me check. End of year. All caps. End of year is the code. We're running a sale till the end of year. So definitely check that out if it's something you're interested. Let's get back into some tips, and we will continue on with talking about the thumbnail. Welcome back, Zach. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the thumbnail and what are some things we can do and learn about how we can position our videos better with good thumbnails?
So I will talk about my experience, but I would like to say that, and I think you're probably the thumbnail king at this point. You've got some of my favorite ones. I love the creativity. And normally I'm just like me and then like just pointing up at the little logo for Lightroom. So
it's a classic. It works. It works.
it works because if I'm just going based off of my own experience, and particularly my Lightroom videos, they just perform really well for my channel. And so I just kind of started with this little thing where I take not even really a picture. If I can get it, that'd be great. But I would even take a screenshot, just Photoshop myself, like cut myself out of the image, put a blue background on it, and I'm pointing at the Lightroom logo. And then I've got my little side frame where people know that I'm actually working on the app. And it's just very easily identifiable. Like every time you go to one of my videos, they look pretty much the same. Like the color grading one, it's got like how the app looks, like it's very identifiable. So if anybody's seen one of my videos, if they enjoyed the content, if they learned something, got some value out of it, the next time they see one of those things, they're gonna be like, oh, I've seen this guy before. Like he's standing out. And yeah, it just makes it a lot more cohesive. Plus I got a whole playlist of all the stuff together too. So it all just works in a really nice way. But again, like I'm not doing anything specific on like dating it or making it too like, it's a little bit timeless in the sense of like it's just talking about the thing and it's just got the title of what it is that I'm talking about on there. But I'm curious, Ben, what's your approach to thumbnails and making them evergreen?
Yeah, I think that there's a couple things that I think about when it comes to thumbnails, and you're actually doing one of them right there, which I think a lot of people miss out on, and it's a super powerful tip, which is the use of negative space. All right, so having negative space in your thumbnail, when you look at the one that says how to install presets to Lightroom, that kind of nice blue background behind you is there as an empty space, but it's allowing the viewer to then find things. And the fact that you're pointing and you have the outline around the logo lets the viewer's eye get drawn to it. If there was a bunch of stuff going on, and even in the other one next to you, it is still a very minimal background. There's not a ton of stuff behind you. And so I think that's something to consider when you're making your thumbnails, is like, don't go overboard. What we do, like one of the things I try to do as what I would consider maybe best practice, and I think I have some examples potentially. Okay, well let's talk about
thumbnail or the
yeah,
tutorial.
Let's talk about that one. So on the how to make a YouTube intro start to finish, my motivation for this thumbnail in particular, my thought process behind it was like, I want to create something that people don't see in their everyday life. And a lot of times that's my concept, is kind of like, how do I do something in the edit that looks unnatural? It's not something you just see. It's kind of like, whoa, what is going on? And so my idea here was like, oh, it's a YouTube intro. It's as if I'm saying hi, but I'm not just saying hi. I'm saying hi so much because this intro is so good that I'm popping out of the screen as if I'm there in person. That was sort of my thought process behind it, right? And then flipping strategies to the one next to it, lighting for YouTube. Well, actually, let's talk about this one. I like this one better. Lighting for YouTube to make your videos stand out. There is and then in the thumbnail we see before after, right? There's a story being told. There is a transformation being shown. You see the before and you see the finish after. And I don't say before after lighting transformation as my title. I let the thumbnail speak for itself. I think a lot of times I see it's not even really a mistake. It's just a missed opportunity if you're doing this. But if you're just doing your title and your thumbnail exactly the same, I think that there is a missed opportunity. What you can do instead is, rather than having them repeat each other, have them complement each other. So make your title and your thumbnail work together as a partnership rather than just a clone or a repetitive thing. So it's kind of like before after what? What is this a before after of it? Oh, lighting for YouTube videos. Oh yeah, I can see how he is making his video look different. Let me check it out, right? That's kind of the concept with that one. Now when we're looking at this one over here, again, I'm using that technique in the how to position lights for YouTube videos. My thought process going into it is, I want to make something that doesn't look natural. I want it to look interesting, or just like something you wouldn't see. So like the concept was, I'm positioning lights. What if I am actually positioning every single light in the thumbnail, and I'm the subject, I'm shooting. And what this does is it also speaks to that emotional level. I think I'm getting really deep with this, but I think it does speak to that level of the solo content creator. You're doing all of the work yourself. So there's a relatability there. If you're a solo creator, you're like, I've been there. I set up the camera, I set up the light, I set up the other light and the other light, and I sit in the chair and I'm doing everything. And I want to know how to do it well. And so that's kind of like what this video is speaking to. Now, flipping to the one next to it, lighting for YouTube videos in small rooms and spaces. This one was an interesting one. It's not my personal favorite thumbnail, but it seems to have done well. It could just be that the topic is strong, but I used negative space and I used the rule of 3. And this is a really powerful rule that I think a lot of people can overlook, and that I think that if they start to leverage, it can make a very big impact. And that is to try, when you can, not to have more than 3 elements in your thumbnail. So in this situation, now I know it's a little counterintuitive because I am showing you some other examples, but when you think about it, even in the positioning one, there's really only really three elements. There's me, there's lights, and there's the room, right? I'm in there more, but it is still technically like that. Now in this one in particular, there's a lot of use of negative space with the lighting small rooms. I've got me inside a confined box. I've got the text, and I've got a picture of a light. It's as clear as day. It's simple. And I didn't know how to like show myself like in a tight space in a way that would work. So this is just what I came up with. I was like, I want to show like a little dot, like floor plans almost, and it's like closing in on me. So it took some Photoshop work, but hey, it's just clear. And I think at the end of the day, that's what matters. Make it clear. It doesn't have to be like the positioning video where it's like you're cloning yourself and you're doing all this stuff. That's a more advanced technique. It can still be simple and it can be clean. I think that is the most important thing with thumbnails, is making it just be, kind of hinting at the topic. And honestly, the lighting for small rooms one, what I'm doing in that pose speaks to the pain point of people who are trying to light in a small room, right? They feel closed in, they feel confined. And so I think that's sort of my thought process when I go about it. Is it the best way to show it? No, there's probably lots of other ways to do it. But hey, at the end of the day, I'm trying to put out a video every week. And so I don't always have the amount of time that it takes to execute every idea I have. And I want to release some of you guys from that mindset today. I think there's a lot of you guys that are not pursuing YouTube or not, pursuing your ideas because it's taking too much time and it's taking all this energy and effort and it's never as good as you want it to be. I just want you to feel released today, to know that like you're okay to just be consistent, to put out content, to keep learning, to keep growing. It does not have to be perfect. It does not have to be, 100 every time. Just get 1% better. Focus on, developing your skills, keep trying things, testing things, because a big part of YouTube is testing. If you spend a year making one video and it flops, you've only learned the lesson that one video taught you. But if you can start doing them every week or however much as you can, you will learn that much more. That's why, again, this stream today is not encouraging people to post less, but what we are trying to do is to show you how to get the most out of your post, right? So let's, that's my thoughts with thumbnails. I get really passionate about that. But I definitely want to just encourage some of you guys today with that. So moving along, we talked about thumbnail and now we're talking about SEO. I get fired up about that stuff, Zach.
Dude, I'm like wanting to write down all this stuff. Like I'm gonna have to go back and watch the stream again because I love the thought and the amount of like subliminal details that you put into your work, which is like, it's obvious whenever I see it, but like to even hear you like talk and explain more about it is incredible. Your positioning
Thanks,
one
man.
is my favorite thumbnail I think I've ever seen.
Thanks.
And because you're a punny guy, I was gonna say the lighting in small rooms is definitely thinking inside the box.
Yes.
Because you're inside a box. Yeah.
Yeah. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. It's fun. I think that's one of the things, like, I think one of the things that I learned from my dad, who is a graphic designer by trade, is that sometimes, like, so when he would get hired for a job, like maybe he's making a logo for a client or something, a couple times, sometimes you'll make a few designs, right? You'll kind of send off a couple of designs to the client. What he found is that most of the time throughout his years of work, it was typically that first design that took a few minutes to make, not the one that he would spend 20 minutes on that the client would love. It's just that gut instinct, and I think like that's the thing that I think we overthink it sometimes. I think the best thing that we can do sometimes is to just really like lean into that initial idea we have, that initial like thing that comes to mind, just lean into that thing, because other times it just takes a little bit too much overthinking, too much time where we just water it down. We just spend too much time on making it look flashy or making it look, this, that, or the other, when sometimes it's just that first instinct, it is going to be the clearest and the most, accurate to what the topic is actually about. And what I want to do now is actually shift away from the thumbnail design conversation and actually talk about SEO. SEO, search engine optimization is another tactic that is super important to consider with evergreen content, because it is going to be a very important part of being discovered, which is a important part of this evergreen content. You want your videos to be discovered, and using tools like vidIQ will be super helpful in doing this. Using tags and titles. Now, they're not as important as maybe they once were, but I can still speak to the fact that YouTube is very much a search engine, and your YouTube videos will actually show up on things like Google, right? And so I think that considering these things will actually help dictate the way you make your videos. Rather than just making a video like, here's my day today, you're thinking through a topic, you're thinking through the title, you're thinking through the thumbnail, you're thinking through how are people going to discover this. And you can think through all of these things before you even make the video. You can think through all of those things before you even decide to sit down and press record. And so I think it's really cool to think about all of those things and have all these tools and clarity at your disposal before you dive in to even, sitting in front of the camera. I think a lot of times when we get started, we can want to just, run to camera, and then we sit in front of it and we're kind of stuck. We're like, what do we talk about? Well, if you take a little bit of time to plan, get a game plan, think through these things, like how will people search it? How will they find it? What topic am I doing? How will I title and thumbnail it? You will have so much clarity when you then go to sit down. Now, I am not saying to not start just because you're not clear, but starting doesn't necessarily mean just sitting down to record right away. Sometimes it means take a minute to plan, because 10 minutes of planning can save you an hour of frustration. So that's something I would recommend. Hey, one of my lights died. Bummer. But all right, getting all the technical difficulties today. Zach, I would love to hear your take on SEO and kind of how to help position the videos to get discovered.
Absolutely. It's great to be back again. I would say, first of all, you need to be using some sort of tool. I don't know if you mentioned this already, Ben, but using some sort of tool in order to help make sure that you are, to verify that you are definitely ranking well, that your title is good, that you're doing all the proper techniques and checklists in order to make your video rank higher and become more discoverable, especially over the long run. So vidIQ is an incredible tool that you could use to do this. I think there's the free version to do it, but there's also paid, and there's tons of tools. They even give you video topic ideas and so many more other things, but basically giving you checklists along the way to make sure you're using relevant tags, that your title is something that could work even within a trend, and make it, like I said, just more discoverable, more usable, especially over the long haul. So that would be one of my highest recommendations. That's something that everybody could get access to and use to make their videos more discoverable.
Yeah, absolutely. I love partnering with vidIQ, and they're not sponsoring this video today or anything, but they are just such a good, underrated tool, especially if you're getting serious about YouTube. So definitely check it out. And the other thing I want to mention is ultimately, beyond the SEO, beyond, the algorithm, think about the audience. So think about the audience over the algorithm. At the end of the day, all of that stuff, the algorithm and the SEO and all that stuff, is designed to help get your video in front of the right people. People is the key word there. So you're still making videos for real people behind those numbers, behind those view numbers, behind the screens, behind the comments. There are real people. And so just think about that, think about personalize the audience again. Don't just think about it as, the metrics. Think about it as people, and realize that your content is there to serve people. And when you take on that mentality, you'll be able to really lean into the idea of having purpose behind your content. So it's no longer just let me get the most views, let me get the most whatever. It's how can I actually help someone with this thing? Can it change their life by taking on this simple technique and letting them learn a new skill that they can apply to their videos? It gives you a ton of motivation and a ton of purpose in your content, which I think can sustain you in the times where it's tough or the times it's not going well. And let me say, with this technique of evergreen content, most of the time, the videos will not do as well up front. It's the long game. With evergreen content, it is the investment of over time. And so it can be discouraging to spend hours and hours and hours on a video and post it, and it's 10 out of 10, not in a good way, in a YouTube way, where it has performed your worst out of your most recent 10. That can be super discouraging, especially when it's the video you thought you did the best on and loved the most. That happened to me just recently. I was like, man, this was going to be the best one ever. I was so pumped on it. But of course, those are the ones that sometimes just end up performing the worst at first. At first is the key word there, because over time they can pick up traction. And so that's just one of the things where you just got to release it, move on to the next one, and just continue to serve people. So that's my, my 2 cents on SEO. But let's move on to our, one other topic in the form of tips, which is delivery. All right. So you come up with your topic, you come up with your title, you come up with a thumbnail design. Maybe you don't design it yet, but you're thinking about what that can be. You're thinking about SEO, like how are people going to find this? How can I position it well? Let's talk about the actual delivery of the content where you can really start to serve. So Zach, when it comes to delivery of evergreen content, as far as like how you are presenting the videos, what have you experimented with? What has worked for you? What is some advice for the people?
Yeah, I think as far as delivery goes, I mean, when you have your video there, like I like to try to make things based too around like really common questions that people tend to have for me, and I love being able to have like those videos there as like assets to just like give to people and say like, oh, okay, if you have a question on how to use the color grading tool inside of Lightroom or like how to use tone curves, like I have a video resource for you, and it's already there and available. I don't really have to take more time to explain it, but like here's actually a better way to use it. So I love using content and delivering it in that way, kind of like multi-purposing it as well and breaking down into smaller chunks and segments for vertical content, for Instagram, for YouTube Shorts. I'm not into TikTok necessarily, but I know that that's another thing as well. Yeah. And
for sure, yeah, I think that TikTok can be super challenging in itself. That's a whole other topic for another time. But as far as delivery goes, another thing I want to bring up is the concept of opening your video strong. Those first few seconds are going to be the most important time of your video. Like they're going to be the time where it is make or break if someone's going to stick around. And so you don't want to just open it up and be like, hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm having a interesting week this week, yada yada, and it takes a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes to get to the point, right? So what you want to do instead is, like, if your video is about a specific topic, address that topic right away. So, for example, lighting for YouTube videos, it's starting out like, today I'm going to show you how to use lighting to make a scene go from this to this. And, it's just already showing what, the result of what people are going to learn and hooking their attention and all of that stuff. So open it strong, figure out what you can do to show the result that they're going to achieve and tee it up so that then you can expand and explain throughout the video. That's going to be what hooks people's attention and keeps them engaged and interested and wanting to learn more. Another thing, aside from just opening it strong, is throughout the video, there's a term that I like to say, which is cut the fluff. So it's, thinking through all of the things in the video that just are not necessary or needed. And I love to cut the fluff before I ever record by writing out a script. And my video that did really well is 5 minutes long. I'm teaching about lighting, and I've had comments, talking about like, man, this is like taking a college level class and all this stuff. And it's just simple. It's just keeping it simple, but keeping it concise, and so I think that at the end of the day, you got to cut the fluff. Don't find yourself wandering. If you do in the video when you recorded it, cut that stuff out. Cut out the gaps, the pauses, make it as concise as possible, because again, people are, in a way, your viewers reward you with their time, right? So if someone is choosing to sit down and spend time with your video, spend time with you in that manner, the best thing you can do is to value their time and to prioritize them as a person by honoring and valuing their time, by making your video as concise, as value adding as it can be. Now, I'm not saying to completely kill the personality of your video. I'm not saying to cut the fluff so much where there's none of you left, but just be mindful of your edits, be mindful of the way you deliver your content, because I think that is really going to be where, you know, a lot of value is found from the viewer's standpoint. And ultimately, just keep it clear. You want to make your videos super clear, a lot of clarity, so that people are not wondering, you know, what is this about? When is he getting to the point? How did I do that again? Like, if you're teaching something, make it super clear how to do it, or at least your way of doing it, right? And that's another thing as well. Like, when it comes to delivery, like, don't worry about, you know, having to be a level 10 before you can make a tutorial. You don't have to be an expert at it. You can still help beginners, even if you're just one step ahead. So share what you know. It's a lot easier to talk about what you know than what you don't. So that's something to consider in the delivery of, you know, the videos. And I think we maybe, I'm switching everything around. There we go. Zach is back. Hello, Zach. Welcome back to the stream.
Guys,
we're having all the technical difficulties this stream.
I'm sorry, Ben. This is ridiculous.
You're good, dude. Hey, one of my lights died. You know, Zach's mic's been acting up. Yeah. It's fine. We're chilling. It's an adventure. Live streaming is an adventure, and let me encourage you, if you're out there and you have not streamed before, just don't take yourself too seriously. Just get in front of camera. Make sure, first and foremost, you're adding value to people. It's a fun time. You get a friend to hang out with. It's fun. So yeah. Zach is back.
This is not a... I was just going to say, this is not on how to stream less and double your views, obviously, because this is not good.
Hey, it's
but
great.
It's fun.
It's great.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. So let's. Do you have anything that you would like to add to delivery? I know you were kind of talking about it a little bit, and we ran into some difficulties.
Yeah, I love what you were just saying there about, like, you don't have to be a professional on any certain sort of topic. It's just like you use the knowledge that you do have, and what you said was so beautiful. It's like I felt the same sort of way, where I'm not an expert per se. I've really applied myself, but I might just be one step ahead of the next person that I'm trying to help. And so I really love, like, trying to come from an angle of, like, I'm going to try to take this really complex concept and just, like, break it down as much as I can in layman's terms for someone, just to help them out, because these are the kind of questions that I had when I was first starting. And so I just really love that, man. I think it's great.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's good stuff. So, you know, hopefully some of those tips are helping you guys. You know, we try to get, you know, practical with it as far as, you know, thinking through your titles, through your thumbnails. And ultimately, the goal here is to focus on making content that will stand the test of time, because that is going to be where you will find the most results as far as your ROI, your time spent making the video. And I think like me myself, I can very much talk to this, because I think that it's really been my strategy with YouTube, and why I've been able to go full time with it. And, you know, why we've seen some of the success that we have seen with it is because we've made this content library, just like you were talking about, Zach, where it's literally anytime someone comments with a question on one video, I have another video I can send them to, because whenever I get questions, I try to just pay attention to those questions and make a searchable, discoverable, long-term video answering that question, if it's a, you know, type of question that lends itself to that. So pay attention to the questions you get on your videos, pay attention to what people are asking of you, what they're saying, whether it's on Instagram, whether it's in person, it's a friend, you're helping someone out. Like, notice what is it that people tend to come to you for, because you have you have knowledge and experience in those topics, and you can add value to it. So guys, we are going to be getting ready to go into a Q&A time. So if you've got questions, go ahead and start typing them out. You can put a little Q before them. You don't have to at this point, but just go ahead and type out some questions. And before we dive into that Q&A, while you guys are starting to gather your questions for us and ask Zach questions as well, I do want to tell you about the sponsor of today's stream, which is Soundstripe. Soundstripe is where I get all of my music. I've actually got some music playing in the background right now that you guys can hear. That is from Soundstripe. They are absolutely awesome. And the really cool thing about Soundstripe is it's all, you pay for the licensing, but then you never have to worry about copyright strikes or any of that type of stuff. You never have to worry about, it can be a struggle when you're trying to pick out music for like short form content, when you're trying to, on Instagram, you're trying to pick a popular song, but then, YouTube Shorts doesn't have it or TikTok doesn't have it. It can be like, oh, I want to post this video everywhere, but I made it to this song that I don't own the rights to. That can be frustrating. So Soundstripe solves a lot of that stuff. They've got great music. I actually have a playlist on there that you guys can go check out and listen to. And they have really good filter tools. One of the biggest hurdles for creators using music in their videos is spending the time searching through those royalty-free tracks on YouTube, trying to find one good song. Well, Soundstripe makes it really easy to find a track. They're very affordable. I actually have a video where I compare all the different music licensing sites, and I talk about the price comparisons, and Soundstripe is very affordable. And to make it even more affordable, they love you guys, so they're hooking you up with a code. You can use code CREATIVE20 to save 20%. I use Soundstripe on literally everything, and I have long before I started my YouTube channel. It's just something I absolutely love. They're an awesome team, really good company. Definitely check them out if you're interested in leveling up your content with some feel, with some music. They're a great tool, a great asset for creators. But as promised, we are getting into the Q&A. So if you guys got questions, let me know. I'll do my best to bring them up. I see...
Please, before I drop out.
Yeah, we got a question from Michaela, which I'm going to pull up. Shout out to Michaela for moderating. That's awesome. So what is your favorite thing about making YouTube videos? What is your favorite thing about making YouTube videos? Zach, would you like to talk to this a little bit?
Yeah, I think basically making YouTube videos is just fun. It's like I do like video and like graphic content for a living, but YouTube is where I get to like make stuff for myself. And I mean, really it serves other people as well, but I think it gives me a fun creative outlet to just like, express yourself and put your personality on something, where I'm not typically in front of the camera. I'm normally behind the camera. So when I do YouTube videos, it's just it's a cool like creative like exploration, and you get to learn more about yourself and the whole creative process.
That's a really good answer. I like that answer a lot. It's I think sometimes I focus so much on the business side of it these days that I can tend to lose the fun side of it, which that's just how it is. Like I think sometimes we like me personally, I'm very much I get super in my feels. I'm a number 4 on the Enneagram, and it's like I've had to learn to not let feelings dictate things for me. So it's like there's definitely days where I don't find it fun. Where it's just work, and at the end of the day, that's okay. You don't have to love it for every second of it, but overall it is a super fun thing, and I love getting to do it. And as far as like why I love making YouTube videos beyond that, I just think I get a lot of purpose out of it. I think that there's a lot of like fulfillment that comes with it, just being able to help other people and save people time, save people money, like all of that good stuff. So I do find value in that. So that's a great question. And I see we have another one from Dean, which I'm going to pull up now. How long is the video for the stay creative background in your scenes? Been wanting to add something like that in mine. Looks rad. Thank you so much, Dean. I appreciate that. This background, I believe, is about 10 minutes long, and I have it on a loop. What I did was I made it, and I think I actually at some point reversed it. So this is one way to make your content longer when it's stuff like this. You can take like a looping background, copy paste it, reverse the second one, and it will allow it to loop infinitely. So that's something I do a lot if I want something to be seamless. But I think the whole thing is about 10 minutes. I think at some point you may see the stay creative words shifting the other way. But yeah, about 10 minutes. I find that works pretty well and is not super distracting. So great question. All right, we got Sheeps for Jesus asking a question. How do you just start collaborating with other people? That is a really good question. I think that can be a super scary thing to do when you're starting out, because it's like, man, how do you approach someone? Like, how do you even reach out? So that's a great question. I would say for me and my experience, and Zach, I want to give you the floor here in a second, but for me, I started collaborating with people that I knew personally. And so that would be like Zach, we're still collaborating today, but he's one of the first people I collaborated with on the channel, if you look back on everything. But even beyond that, it's like, well, who do you know in your life that you could have a conversation with, that you could bring into a video? That doesn't have to be another video person. It can just be a friend and be like, hey, would you mind coming on to my video and we can have a conversation about this topic or whatever it is. Like, that's a great way to start collaborating and to get a feel for what is it like to have that dialogue in front of a camera? What is it like to have that, strategy with another person? Because it is a little bit of a different dynamic. So Zach, what do you think about how to start collaborating with people?
Yeah, I think collaborating like in videos like this, you've definitely like expanded far beyond what I've personally done, which I think is awesome. I still love just kind of working with my friends, be able to create with my friends. But if you don't have people, then like I'd really encourage, even just like if there are people that locally, or like just reaching out to people, and you just never know, like someone might be willing to hop on a call. And like, even when I had my channel was even smaller, I maybe had like 1,000 or 2,000 subscribers, I had someone reach out to me and they're like, hey, can we just hop on a Zoom call, because I'd love to just like pick your brain about stuff. And I'm like, I have not that many subscribers, but like I'll do my best to like get something out there and collaborate with you. But you always have something to give, and like I said, just that one step ahead of each other. But I also think too, collaboration is really beneficial because it actually grows you and stretches you as a creator. And this I do like every day for work, but just bringing in more people into the process, you kind of have to like remove yourself more from the project, because you can find like more identity and like, this defines me because it's the thing that I did and I made it. But like when someone comes in and they're like, well, what if we did this? Or like, I don't really like that, let's do it this way. If you're confident enough in yourself and secure enough in who you are, that will actually make you a better creator, because it's giving you that different sort of viewpoint and perspective. So I don't know if that's the type of collaboration, probably not exactly what they're the questions in reference to, but I do feel like collaboration in that regard is very important, just to expand you as a creator, because then it gives you that other perspective.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. I love that, having that demeanor and that position when you come into a collab, with just like not being so full of yourself where you can't take critique, or not being so whatever, where it's like you're collaborating with someone because you genuinely like what they're doing or what their opinion. And I think that's a great way to grow. As far as approaching people, one of the things that I've done is, typically I find the best results with just DMing somebody on Instagram, or starting to interact with their stuff on Instagram and stuff like that. And then typically if I'm going to invite someone to collab, I try to reach out and basically like, I'm very clear with what I want to do. It's not super vague. It's not, it's very much like I would, and I say why I want to collab with them specifically. So it's like, I'll try to reach out to someone and be like, hey, I'd love to invite you. So it's very welcoming. You're not just saying, would you want to do this? Maybe you're like, hey, I'd love to invite you to something I'm doing. Right. So you invite them and you say, I'd love to invite you to this live stream or this podcast or this video, because I think that you could bring a ton of value to my audience, and I'd love to expose you to them so that they can learn from you. And you kind of approach it that way. That's how I would, at least. You just do it out of respect. You do it very welcoming, and just saying why you want them, like out of all the people in the world, why them, and sometimes they'll get back to you. You'd be surprised, because at the end of the day, I think that, people who are passionate about it want to share with people too. So, network and stick with your niche as much as you can. Like sometimes you can go out of your way, but like, make it make sense for your audience. Don't just collab with someone because you can. Make it make sense for the audience, right? We talked about that a little bit earlier. Audience over algorithm. All right, let's pull up another question. This is an interesting one from Quinny. What's your opinion on description makeup these days? And maybe clarify a little bit, Quinny, but I believe what you're saying is just what's our input on how to maybe utilize the description. I know they've recently changed some of the interface on YouTube, which I don't personally like the description setup, but I will speak to the why I think the description is valuable. For me personally, it's a massive part of how we make a living. Being able to do affiliate marketing and have active links in the description is why YouTube works for our business. So if I'm doing a product review, I can feature the gear. And even on this video, I have gear that is featured in the description where you can click onto it and I can actually earn commission from Amazon, which helps fund the channel. So I think that is a really important thing to consider. Is how can you use links to direct people to an email list or a website or affiliate marketing? I think it's a massive tool that YouTube offers that the other platforms do not. Because on Instagram, there's only really 2 places for links, your profile and stories. And with TikTok, you can't even get a link until you have a certain amount of following and all that stuff. So YouTube, small creators can start making money and stuff right away by doing affiliate marketing and all of that good stuff, selling a course, selling a product, selling merch. You can do all of that good stuff in the description. Zach, what do you think about the description?
Yeah, exactly what you said. I first of all, I don't like the new layout either for the description, but I do think that it is like for the links and all that you had mentioned, absolutely important for creators, especially smaller creators. I think that going back to like kind of the SEO thing, I think it's important to have like a nice description that like it contains some of the words from your title in the description. And again, like something like vidIQ would like walk you through this kind of process to make sure that it's searchable and ranking well. But then again, like for big creators, it's like I saw a Peter McKinnon video once and it changed my mind on descriptions for like, I guess, bigger creators where it was like, here's the video. And like, he already knows he's going to get a ton of views or whatever. And so the description, the first thing is like Lightroom presets and then like his link to his Lightroom presets. So I'm like, okay, so you're not even using it at all, but you probably don't have to use it and like be as he doesn't have to worry about being discovered or like becoming like searchable in his niche because he's already like the top dog.
Yeah, that's something to think about and to be aware of as you observe the leaders in any given niche or industry. Is like sometimes the things they do are not best practice for you as a growing creator because they've already made it. So some of the stuff that they do is, may not work as well as a small channel, but because they already have the following and the fan base, they can do things like that. So be aware of that as you observe stuff. Not all the time will you learn just from observing because sometimes it's not the best practice. But yeah, for sure. I think it regardless, the description's a great way to leverage it. Quinny, let me know if that was the angle you wanted for your question. I tried to interpret it the best I could. Let's see. We got a question from Alicia B. Which camera is best for vlog, the Canon Mark series or the Sony ZV? Great question. My thoughts on this stuff right now in the current state of things is like all of the cameras are pretty great, to be honest. I think it just kind of comes down to preference. Me personally, I love the Sony cameras. I love to use the ZV cameras. I think they're great. So I would recommend Sony, just because that's what I use. And I think that there's a lot to grow into with Sony. I think that there's a lot of great tools for, the low light and the autofocus, and the resolution is very sharp. So I think a lot of that stuff is great. And Sony is actively trying to produce cameras for content creators. I've actually had the privilege to be a part of some of the press release meetings with Sony recently, and they are gearing more towards the creator economy and the budding creators, the TikTokers, Gen Z, and all that stuff. That's their market that they're targeting very heavily right now. So I would stick with Sony because I think there's a lot of cool stuff to come. Zach, what are your thoughts on Canon or Sony?
Agreed. I'm a Sony guy anyway. So I mean, it's kind of hard to pick a bad camera nowadays. Honestly, like there's a lot of good ones. There's even a lot of good used cameras. It is a lot of money, especially if you're like going to buy your first one. So you do really want to do your research, but you kind of can't go wrong in some regards, especially when you go Sony. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, best camera is the one you have on you. So like if you've just got your phone right now, don't wait till you get the camera to start. Just start now, because if you're able to make 1 video, 2 videos, 3 videos, 4 videos, 5 videos before you get that camera, like you're already going to have learned so much through that process, because there's so many like tasks that are a part of YouTube, which is like the thumbnail and the title and optimizing and doing all these things that you just don't think of. You're just like, oh, I need to get the camera and make the video. But if you go ahead and start with your phone, you're going to start getting better at those tasks. You're going to start learning about all that stuff. So just something to think about. Don't let the gear stop you. We've got another question coming up. I like this one here. What is your favorite creative project you've done together? Oh man, that's such a hard one. I may come back to this. I need to like really think about this one. What do you think, Zach? Does anything
I think I know.
come to mind? All right, what's yours?
Well, favorite and memorable are two different things.
Fair.
It's gotta be like, dang man, I don't know. Maybe they're about the same for me. So we did like promo videos, but well, I say we did promo videos. Ben did promo videos back in the day, and I just happened to be
We did them.
kind of like an idea person, but more so I'd be like in videos or whatever. And so we did one. You had the picture of it earlier, I think, where it's like the one with the light bulb. That was pretty cool. That was one that we did for an old church conference back in 2014, and the whole concept was like carrying the light with you. And so that was from that shoot there, where I was like the person. We had like this giant like battery backup in my backpack, and like
I remember that.
We fed the cabling for the light bulb like all the way through my sleeve, and then I was just like holding this light bulb fixture, which got really hot.
Crazy. Yeah, I bet.
That's probably like super dangerous, like really when you think about it. But that was a lot of fun. And then there was
funny.
one back. The other one that's the most memorable, and I think my favorite, is the Morios. We did one where it was like it was like an Oreo knockoff that was in short supply, and the world was going crazy, and I got to be a news reporter and break up a fight, so that was fun.
Oh, we did some crazy ones. You know which one always comes to my mind for some reason is we did this video that was like the turning of a year. So it was going like 2011 to 2012 or something. Yeah. And then like we went to your house, and we're like in your like kind of outside your house, and just you wore a shirt that said like 2011 or something, and we just like flung paint at you and then reversed it in slow motion we didn't have like good quality cameras, so we used like Twixtor in After Effects, and it was all like blurry and stuff, but hey, we made it. And I think that just reminds me of like the creativity and like the grit of like being new to making videos and just being creative, and like not letting the lack of things stop you and just figuring it out. Like that always makes me think of that a lot. And so I think about that one a lot, because it's just like, man, that was fun. Plus it was just like an explosion of color and all that good stuff. So great question. That was fun to reminisce on. All right, we got another question here coming in. This one's from our friend Riley. What's up, Riley? What's the one practical thing you wish you knew before starting YouTube /creative life? Really good question. There's probably like 100 things now, but
So true.
my biggest one I think is probably start before you're ready. I know that's kind of like the basic advice that everybody says, but it's so true. And just because it's basic doesn't mean it's not relevant. And so it's like, man, I didn't waste it, but I could have started at least 3 years sooner if I would have just started. And I think back, I'm like, man, how much further along could I have been? Now, I believe that, you know, God can redeem all of that stuff. And so nothing is wasted. But like, I do think I could have learned a lot faster and, you know, done things a certain way if I would have gotten started, even when I was nervous or scared. So that's definitely a practical thing that I wish I would have known, because it would have allowed me to start the YouTube creative life a bit sooner. Zach, what are your thoughts on the question?
Yeah, I 100% agree with you on that one. And yeah, it's just like, man, you think about like the opportunities that could have been there, which you can't go back in time and play that game, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could have been so much further along in the process, and I could have, yeah, all that stuff. But I think probably just like the discipline side of things, and like I didn't realize how
yeah.
disciplined you have to be, especially like because the long game for me is like I want this to be a business that
Yeah.
can like sustain like income. And so in order to do that, you got to think of it like a small business. So all the time and effort you got to put into it, like I didn't realize that ahead of time, and that's just part of the grind now. It's just, it is what it is. You know, but that's this whole stream. The purpose is like, if when you don't have the time or it's not possible to do it, you've hopefully done the work on the back end already. You've done the hard work ahead of time, so that way it sets you up for long-term success.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Those are definitely good practical lessons. We got another one coming in from Tino. What is a good charging station for my lights and camera batteries? Tino, great question. I wanted to pull this one up, and we're going to be wrapping up the stream here in just a moment. But so just let us know any last questions. I'll try to pick maybe one or two more. But a good charging station. I haven't made a video on this yet, and I'm really mad that I haven't, because I need to. But I want to share with you what I have done. So stick around, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss it. I will make it soon. But I actually created a charging station out of a guitar pedal board. So my friend Zach over here plays guitar, and I remember going to church and seeing him have this cool little board for all of his guitar pedals. And I was super into video at the time. I was like, hey, these pedals look about the same size and shape even as my battery chargers for cameras. So I was like, I wonder if I could just put these on a pedal board with Velcro and kind of like mount some power strips in there and put it in a little travel case. So I did. So now I have this like nice little portable carrying case with, you know, one cable that I can plug in. And it was really, really nice when I was doing, you know, a lot of more like shoots on location, like weddings and other bigger productions. I could just bring this case with me, plug it into an outlet, and have all my chargers there if needed. So that is what I would recommend. I will do a video soon, at the very least showcasing it, but I'll at least try to do some sort of a short or something showing how I did it, because I think it's a really cool, unique way to have your charging stuff set up. So yeah, that's my answer for that. I don't know if you have anything to add to that, Zach, but I just wanted to mention that one.
No, I just remember when I first saw you with the pedal board thing, and I was like, dang, that's a smart idea.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm just trying to read a few more here. This is a good one from Grisel. How to ask people to subscribe without sounding desperate. That's a good question. Zach, do you have any insights to that?
So first of all, I feel like you want to, subscriber numbers are great, but I feel like I want people who are subscribed and they're going to like actually like continually watch my content and like continually like it, continually comment. And there are some people in the community that like, it is kind of a community. It stays like that. So I have my spiel every video where at the end I said, hey, if you got value out of this video, why don't you go ahead and add value back to it and like the video? Or why don't you subscribe to the channel, blah, blah, blah. That's kind of my spiel. I know Ben's got a spiel. Everybody kind of has their own thing. And You don't have to be apologetic about it at all. It's kind of like a weird thing, but it is in essence sort of an exchange because you're kind of getting something from them, but they're getting something from you, and that's why kind of the reason why you're putting it out there, whether it's entertainment, whether it's information, inspiration. They're receiving something, and so it doesn't cost people anything except that. So I think it's totally fine to ask, and just be you don't have to be super serious about it. I think the less emphasis and the less desperate you sound and you just put it out there, I think just being authentic to yourself, and people will see that, they'll like it, and they'll reciprocate it.
Yeah, and I would say, like, in the beginning, I was definitely asking people to subscribe, and I was doing it all wrong in the beginning. But hey, that's what the beginnings are for, is so you can do it wrong, you can learn from it. But in the very beginning, I was definitely kind of doing it nearer to the beginning of the videos. I was kind of like, here's what the video's about. I'd play a little intro, and then I'd come up and be like, make sure to like and subscribe. And it's like,
Right.
If anything, do it at the end. Add the value first, do it at the end. But honestly, what I've kind of started doing now is I just don't even ask these days. I kind of like, maybe occasionally I'll show a little animation throughout the video just to put it in their mind. But like most of the time now, I just focus solely on adding the value. And then at the end of the video, rather than utilizing that time to ask for a subscribe, I use it to interest them and intrigue them in another video so that they just keep watching my videos and ultimately will want to subscribe because they just keep watching my videos. I'd rather use that time to direct them to extend their session with me rather than just to be like, subscribe, and then they subscribe and just kind of move on. So that's been my strategy as of now. I think it's working really well. And what I've noticed is huge spikes when I release a new video, and at the end I point them to an old video. I see big spikes on those old videos and views because they're getting a lot of new traffic to them. And I would rather have that in this current stage of where I'm at than utilizing that time to ask for a subscribe, which they will probably do anyways if they want to see more content. So that's just my 2 cents on it. I'm not saying it's the best. I'm not saying it's best practice, but I'm finding it working well for me. So maybe experiment with just briefly mentioning it at the end, or maybe not even saying it and doing a different call to action. Great question. All right, guys, I think we're going to be wrapping it up here real quick. Let's see. I think I think we're going to go ahead and end it there, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out. Zach, thank you so much for being on the stream today. And anybody who is watching, definitely go check out Zach's stuff. We'll make sure to link it in the description below. Connect with him on Instagram, connect with him on YouTube. And again, we hope that this stream has been helpful. We know we've had some technical difficulties, but hey, that's live for you. And at the end of the day, I hope that you guys can see through all that stuff and just get some value out of the content. It's been super cool to see for both Zach and myself this concept of evergreen content and the way that it has helped grow our channels, even through times where we get busy in life and can't dedicate as much as we want to it. Those videos are still working for us, and that's the idea. We're not saying that you should post less, but we're saying if you do it the right way, your videos will continue to work for you even when you can't post as much as you want to. So hopefully this has been helpful for you guys. Zach, go ahead and tell us one more time about where people can find you and about your channel, so that they can go connect with you.
Absolutely. You can search Zach Sopak, my name, ZACSOPAK, pretty much on any social platform. You can check it out, connect with me. Would love to help you out in your creative process. And go check out the channel. There's some fun stuff on there.
Awesome. Well, guys, this has been fun. Thank you so much for being a part of the stream, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. As always, stay creative. Peace.
What?